Luskin Institute on Inequality and Democracy comes out of a commitment on the part of the school and UCLA more broadly to have a research center focused on social justice. I've had the wonderful privilege of serving as founding director of the Institute, and in that role, I've ensured that the Institute focuses on space, the ways in which social inequality in the United States is experienced in space, manifested in space, and how we can challenge inequality by changing spatial arrangements. So one of the reasons why, as a scholar at UCLA, I focus on housing justice rather than the housing crisis is because I believe that we can do better. And by we, I mean great public universities like UCLA, working in solidarity with social movements, including tenant movements. The first thing that needs to happen this year, in this moment of great urgency, is to keep people in their homes, to prevent more families from becoming houseless, to stop evictions, to provide rent cancellation and mortgage forbearance policies. And in doing so, we would greatly address and mitigate the crisis to come. But in addition to that, we have an opportunity to rethink our entire system of housing.
So my time at UCLA has been really informative, in fact, in terms of how I approach my work on the advisory committee for building trust and equity for the Los Angeles Police Commission. Obviously, as a practitioner who worked in the law enforcement arena as a federal prosecutor for 11 years, I know a lot about sort of the machinery of law enforcement and how the criminal justice system works on a practical day-to-day basis from the federal perspective. But having the opportunity to come to UCLA and be exposed to really the forefront of thinkers on issues of critical race theory, of systemic racism, of criminal justice reform and police reform has been incredibly helpful. It's been rewarding, and it has definitely given me a perspective that I am able to layer on top of sort of the practical experience that I gained from having worked in the system myself. And I have to say, in this time when the world is a bit topsy-turvy and there's a lot of chaos and you want to look to your leaders and for answers and those answers aren't there, that it was deeply grounding and humbling to listen to the people who are day in and day out doing this work, whether they are serving their clients who are in the juvenile justice system, whether they're a nonprofit organization that seeks to train the LAPD on trauma-informed responses to domestic violence calls. I think building those lines of communication will naturally help build trust. And the more that Los Angeles City, the LAPD, and the institutions that we sort of think anchor the city, the more that we actually turn and look to the people who are doing this work on a daily basis, the more naturally I think trust and communication will flow.
So I think it goes without saying that these are very interesting times. They're times of heightened uncertainty. And we as forecasters have to deal with that uncertainty and come up with a baseline forecast, as well as a good explanation as to how the economy might deviate from that forecast. As director of the forecast, it's certainly very rewarding to bring together our talented team to address these questions. As we begin to think about what Los Angeles is going to look like, what the Los Angeles economy is going to look like when we finally have the pandemic in our rearview mirror, there are a couple of things that come to mind. One is that we're going to have real growth in Silicon Beach, in the technology industry in Southern California. A second is because of rising inequality, we have a serious problem, not just the homelessness problem, but a problem of employment and income. And so that's open for new policies and new ideas and new innovation. And I think you can expect education and an expansion of education to be part of that solution.